Hi guys, bonjour mes amis. My name is Lyle with No Hippie Barbecue, and I'm doing a collaboration with Diane at Booger 500 US, the air fryer queen. And basically what our concept was pick your own pork, come up with the recipe using the air fryer. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to leave a link to her channel in the iCard above and the description below, as well as her recipe in the iCard and the description as well, or her video should I say. Anyway, what I'm going to be making today is a chicken fried pork sandwich, something I haven't done yet in the air fry. I think it's going to turn out great. We're going to have some chicken fried pork, we're going to have some bacon. Anyway, something I've never made. Let's see how it turns out. Chin chin. The ingredients we're going to need for this, I have 3 pork cube steaks, some seasoned flour, and you can season it with whatever you want. I'm going with this habanero seasoning mix. As far as the cheese I'm going to use, we're just going to go with Gouda. Any cheese would work fine. The bread, just going to go with some ciabatta rolls. Onion we're going to slice up. Tomato we're going to slice up. We're going to need some eggs for our egg wash. What I'm going to do is crack those eggs, whisk them up with a fork. That's what we're going to dip our pork in before we flour it. I have some homemade mayonnaise. Recipe's going to be in the description for that. And some homemade hot sauce, like kind of a red chili sauce. And we're going to be topping it with some bacon. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and get this bacon cooked up in the Actifry. And while that's cooking up, we're going to go ahead and slice these tomatoes and onions. So now we're going to go ahead and add our bacon to this Actifry, and this actually does a really good job cooking bacon. I have a video on that. I'll go ahead and leave that video in the iCard above in the description below as well. If you have an Actifry or any air fryer, give it a try. So we're going to put as many pieces as will fit in here, and they can kind of overlap a little bit. It's not going to make too big of a difference. Now we're just going to shut it and cook it until it looks like bacon should look. We're about 7 minutes in on the bacon, and this is about as done as I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out and put it on this paper towel. The reason I don't want to cook it too much is I don't want it to be so crispy that when you bite the sandwich the bacon breaks apart. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. Things we want to do before we actually start cooking our pork. The first thing we want to do is go ahead and get our egg wash ready. So we're just going to crack a couple eggs in here. Give this a good whisk. That's good to go. Now I have my homemade mayonnaise here. I have my homemade hot sauce here. And it's not too hot, there's more flavor than hot, but we're just going to add a little bit of that to it. Now there's fresh eggs in this mayonnaise, so me using the same fork isn't going to be that big of a deal. We're just mixing this in to give us a little bit of extra flavor. Now that we have this good to go, we're going to go ahead and set it to the side and get our pork cooking. Go ahead and get this chicken fried pork hooked up. Basically it's just a cubed pork steak. We're just going to go ahead, hit it with some flour on both sides. Come over to this egg wash, get it on both sides. Come back to the flour. Now you can do this without all these steps, but I want this to be extra crispy. And now we're just going to lay it in our air fryer. I'm going to go ahead and continue with the rest of these, and then we're going to turn the air fryer on. Another thing that's going to happen when I have the air fryer going is we're going to go ahead and throw these in the oven. I have some ciabatta rolls with some olive oil and some grated Parmesan cheese on that. One thing I did want to mention about this Actifry is I've had questions on it. The Actifry that I have, I'm not sure if other Actifries have different temperature controls, but this is either on or it's off. As far as the oil I have in here now, I drained the bacon grease off until it just lightly coated the bottom. And one thing I found is if you spray the top of this with just a little bit of olive oil or any other kind of cooking spray, just a touch, it's going to make it so that your meat doesn't come out looking dry. So we're going to get this going probably about 5 minutes. Take a look at it, and then we may possibly flip it in 5 minutes, or we may let it keep going. So anyway, let's get this going. We are about 5 minutes into this. I think with these thin cuts of meat we should be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and flip them. And that looks good to me. Let's go ahead, shut it down. It's been in here about 12 minutes total. I think we should be about fine. What I'm going to do now is just throw some cheese on this until it melts down, and then we will get building this sandwich. We are down to the last part of this. The Actifry's already done its job, so now it's just like me back in the days working at Burger King. Gonna hit it with some of this mayonnaise mixture. Get a little bit of this onion on here. Boom. I'm all about that red onion. Get this tomato on. Go ahead and break up some of this bacon. Get this on here. Now it's time for me to call this big head boy of mine up here and do a taste test. So here's what we're looking like all put together right here. Alright, so it's time for this taste test. I want to thank Diane at Booger 500 US, the air fryer queen, for getting me in on this collaboration. Anyway, it's time for me and Mason to get down to this taste test. Let's go. That is a big bite. Anyway, what do you think?
I thought it's great. Bread's toasted just fine. Pork's nice and tender. Bacon perfectly crisp. It was great.
Anyway, if you have an Actifry, try this recipe out. If you're thinking about an Actifry or any air fryer, I'm telling you, it's an investment that is worth the money. Anyway, I'm going to let Mason get to this sandwich and start eating it like a runaway slave. I'm going to call him Hedrick Douglas for the rest of the night. Anyway, thanks for stopping by No Hippie Barbecue. I appreciate it. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.